I would like to take this opportunity to wish His Holiness the Panchen Lama Gidum Choki Neima a happy 32nd birthday. On May 15th, 1995, His Holiness the Dalai Lama chose Gidum to be the 11th Panchen Lama, which is the second highest position in Tibetan Buddhism. Sadly, 3 days later, Chinese authorities kidnapped him because they saw this young boy as a threat to the regime. It has been almost 26 years since we have seen or heard anything from him. As a commissioner on the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, or USCIRF, I joined former Commissioner Tenzin Dorji to advocate on his behalf through USCIRF's Religious Prisoner of Conscience Project, along with Congressman Jim McGovern, who advocates on his behalf through the Tom Lantos Human Rights Commission's Defending Freedoms Project. I do sincerely hope that His Holiness the Panchen Lama is in good health and spirits and will be freed soon from the Chinese Communist Party or CCP's imposed isolation. The plight of His Holiness the Panchen Lama is representative of the Chinese Communist Party's repression against the Tibetan people as an ethno-religious group. For decades, the Chinese government has engaged in an unprecedented campaign of forced assimilation and suppression of the Tibetan Buddhists. Just this past year, CCP General Secretary Xi Jinping mobilized central and local authorities to sinicize Tibetan Buddhism, to fashion the religion in the party's image. Authorities placed tight restrictions on monasteries and temples and banned Tibetans from religious gatherings. Furthermore, Tibetans are arrested and punished for simply possessing or displaying photos of His Holiness the Dalai Lama or for listening to his teachings. Despite these challenging circumstances, the world has not forgotten about the Tibetan people or the Panchen Lama. All around the world, religious leaders, politicians, activists, and members of the Tibetan diaspora community continue to commemorate the Panchen Lama's birthday. In the United States, the U.S. administration and Congress have continued to express unyielding support for the Tibetan community, both in words and in actions. Most notably, in December 2020, USCIRF welcomed the enactment of the Tibetan Policy and Support Act, which establishes an official U.S. policy affirming the right of the Tibetan Buddhist community to select and venerate their own religious leaders, including the Dalai Lama. The law imposes sanctions on Chinese officials who interfere in the selection or a successor to the Dalai Lama. In addition, it requires the Secretary of State to seek to establish a consulate in Lhasa. In July of 2020, the Trump administration imposed targeted sanctions under the Global Magnitsky Act against 4 senior Chinese officials, including Chen Chuenguo, the current Communist Party Secretary of Xinjiang and former Secretary of Tibet until 2016. Chen is responsible for the egregious religious freedom and human rights violations in Tibet and Xinjiang. USCIRF will continue to be a champion for the religious freedom of all the Tibetan people. We renew our call for the Chinese government to allow an independent expert to visit and confirm the well-being of the Panchen Lama and to release him immediately and unconditionally.